Good day, class. Today we will discuss about ways to minimize investment risks. So first, let us know what is the meaning of investing, or what is the definition of investing. Investing is a process of making money grow and have a return. Mag-i-invest tayo, maglalabas tayo ng pera para yung pera na yun na ilalabas natin ay lumago pa at madagdagan. Yun yung invest, no? I-invest natin siya sa ibang business, sa ibang ventures para lumago pa yung pera natin. But in every type of investment, each has its own level of risk and return. The higher the potential return on top of the investment, the higher the risk or uncertainties that even the investment aside from the promised return will not be recovered. Sa ating gagawing pag-i-invest, meron yan laging kaakibat na risk or yung tinatawag na uncertainties na maging ang investment mo, maaaring hindi mo na rin ma-recover or bumalik sa'yo. Yun yung tinatawag na risk. Tingnan natin ang isang example ng sitwasyon or the case problem of Mr. Ang. Mr. Ang is 60 years old. He just received his retirement benefits amounting to 1 million. He is planning to buy a small farmland so that he can have a simple life of planting fruit-bearing trees and vegetables. However, there is an offer from his friend who wanted to borrow his money for a 10% interest per annum for 5 years. Questions: if you were the grandchild of Mr. Ang, which among the type of investment would you suggest to him and why? Number 2, evaluate the ways and means to minimize investment risk in the chosen investment. Sa sitwasyon na ito, halimbawa kayo yung apo ni Mr. Ang. Ano ang pipiliin nyo? Yun bang bumili ka ng farmland na ito at gamitin mo na yon, magtanim ka ng mga puno, vegetables, or tanggapin mo yung alok sa'yo na ipahiram mo yung perang yun na ang perang yun ay mag-earn ng 10% per annum for 5 years. Kung kayo ang tatanungin, ano ang pipiliin nyo sa dalawa? Yung number 2 question, no? Evaluate the ways and means to minimize investment risk in the chosen investment. Dito tayo ngayon magpaplanong maigi, aaralin natin ang bawat option kung alin ang beneficial, alin ang advantageous. I-evaluate natin yung risk na kung tayo ay magtatanim na lang dun sa farmland, no? Hindi natin ipapahiram yung pera natin. Ano ba yung kaakibat na risk na pwede natin ma-encounter? On the other hand, kung yung pera naman ay ipapahiram natin at sasabing mag-earn to ng 10% interest per annum sa 5 taon, ano naman ang mga risk na po pwede nating ma-encounter kung ito yung pipiliin nating option? So ito yung ating aaralin sa week na ito, ways and means to minimize investment risk. So investments are typically categorized according to their corresponding risks and returns. As a rule, the higher the return, the higher will be the risk. Yun yung sinabi natin before, no? The higher the return, the higher the uncertainties na ma-recover mo yung pera mo or matanggap mo yung ipinangakong interest, the higher will be the risk. As a rule, the higher the return, the higher will be the risk. Kapag mas mataas yung return na ine-expect natin doon sa ating i-invest, mas malaki din yung risk or uncertainties na hindi natin matanggap yung interest na yun. Or maaari din na yung mismong investment natin ay malagay sa alanganin. But sabi rito, no? But that the rule is not necessarily true in reverse order that higher risk would translate into higher potential reward. Hindi raw laging ganon. Yung principle na the higher the return, the higher the risk. Hindi raw laging ganon. Sometimes, greater risk is just greater risk with little potential return. Risk is not a bad thing, but there is a need to understand what kind of risks the investment can take and how to reduce unacceptable levels of risk. Hindi raw masama ang suong dun sa risk na tinatawag. No? May mga dapat tayong paghandaan kung gagawin natin ang bagay na mag-invest pero mag-take ng risk. Kasi po pwede rin naman nating ma-minimize yung tinatawag na risk. Unang-una, ways and means to minimize investment risk. Unang gagawin natin, determination of tolerance to different kinds of risks. Alamin natin hanggang saan yung pwede nating isugal. Yung kaya nating pakawalan na amount sa bawat investment na gagawin natin. Yung tolerance na tinatawag o yung katanggap-tanggap para sa atin na mawala yung pera. Every investment involves some level of risk. Understanding the type of risk or the combination of type of risk is essential in reducing those risks. Two factors that can help determine the risk tolerance. Una, net worth. This is the assets minus capital. The second one, risk capital, is the money that if lost on an investment won't impact the financial position and lifestyle. Ito yung two factors na i-determine natin para sa sinasabi nating risk tolerance. Magkano ba yung pera, yung net worth mo o yung sabi natin yung mismong kabuang capital mo. Diba? Magkano ba yan? Kung iyan ay medyo malaki para sa'yo, parang hindi mo iisipin na mag-invest na lang na mag-invest. Kasi marami kang pera. Diba? Kung ang pera mo ay kukunti lang, magdadalawang isip ka. Tatanggapin ko ba itong investment na ito sa gantong amount or hindi? Kasi limitado yung iyong resources, yung iyong pera. Pero kung marami kang pera, usually tayo, hindi na natin iisip yan, sige lang, go lang ng go. Marami tayong pera. Kung mawala yan, okay lang. Pangalawa, yung risk capital. Magkano ang kaya mong i-risk mismo na amount? Ito yung mismong amount na i-invest mo. Hanggang magkano ang kaya mong ilabas na kung sakasakaling ito ay mawala, di ba? Uncertainties, malugi, matalo ka, it won't impact your financial position and lifestyle. Kung ano ang lifestyle mo nung una bago ka nag-invest, tapos nangyari ang hindi inaasahan dun sa iyong investment, hindi magbabago ang iyong lifestyle, ganun pa rin. Diba? Risk capital. Yun yung amount na willing kang isugal. Kahit mawala, walang magbabago sa iyong lifestyle. So, yun yung dalawang factors, no? Net worth and risk capital. Second one is conducting due diligence. Ibig sabihin, due diligence may pag-iingat. This means making research about the investment instruments before finalizing the investment plan. Aaralin mo maigi, re-research mo ng maigi, i-analyze mo ng maigi ang pwedeng mangyari, alamin mo ang pros and cons ng bawat scenario, ng bawat option. Yan yung conducting due diligence. Checking out the investment's history, earnings growth, management team, and debt load will provide more information about the investment portfolio. This information can be compared with other similar investment products as well as to other assets in the investment portfolio. Inaalam natin yung kasaysayan, history ng kumpanya na kung saan target natin mag-invest. Okay ba yung management nila? Kumusta yung mga investment ng ibang mga tao doon? Kumikita ba? O baka nawawala? Yan. Investment, history, earnings, tsaka yung maganda ba silang mag-manage ng kanilang negosyo. The data about the stock's price to earnings ratio or P/E ratio will measure the relationship between a company's stock price and its annual after-tax earnings. A company with significantly higher price to earnings ratio other than other comparable companies in the same industry typically involves a higher risk. Investment risk can be minimized by weeding out stocks with high price to earnings ratio, unstable management, and inconsistent earnings and sales growth. Kung halimbawang mahal na nga yung price ng stock, tapos hindi pa kumikita, siyempre alam mo, nagtalo ka doon. Ang laki-laki ng babayaran mo, tapos maliit lang yung earnings, yan. Pero kung halimbawa naman na yung price ng stocks ay hindi naman ganun kamahal, pero maganda ang earnings o kitaan, diba? Magandang resulta ng mangyaring investment yan. So, titingnan pa rin natin yan. Paano ba natin kinukuha yung price to earnings ratio? So, para makuha natin yan, yung price per share, i-divide natin dun sa earnings per share. So, yan ang pag-compute ng price to earnings ratio. Pangatlo, diversification of investment portfolio. Diversification of investment portfolio is the risk management strategy of combining a variety of assets to reduce the overall risk of an investment portfolio. One of its purposes is portfolio risk management. Diversification of investment portfolio also lowers its volatility as movements or changes are not expected to happen at the same time in all asset categories, industries, or stocks. The decrease in the instability of the portfolio considers that the different assets market price can rise and fall at different time intervals. This results to a well-balanced risk and return, or risk is spread over a variety of products. Tingnan natin itong example na ito. If you have the money at gusto mong i-invest yung entire money mong iyon, halimbawa, 100,000. Okay, sabihin natin 1 million. You have the 1 million. Gusto mo siyang invest. Yung sinasabi natin diversification of investment is don't put all the eggs in one basket. Yun yung kasabihan. Kung sa investment yan, huwag mong ilalagak ang lahat ng iyong pera sa iisang category lang or sa iisang type of investment. Tingnan natin ang example na ito. Ang gawin natin is pwedeng 25% nung kabuuan or nung 1 million ilagay natin sa stock, 25% ilagay natin sa time deposit, 25% sa treasury bonds, 25% sa real estate. Bakit natin gagawin yan? For example, yung 1 million, ilagay mo lahat yan sa real estate, 100%. Paano kung biglang nalugi sa real estate? Bumagsak. Italo ka. Buong 1 million, wala na. Ngayon, kung gagawin mo, 25% sa lahat ng yan. Malugi ka man sa real estate, hindi natin alam, baka yung stock mo naman earning. Kumikita yung stock, di ba? Natatalo ka rito sa isa, nananalo ko sa isa, nananalo ko sa iba. Ayan, di ba? Nagiging balanse. Maganda rin naman na medyo maliit lang yung talo mo sa isa, pero sa iba, mas malaki ang panalo mo. Yun yung magandang mangyayari. So, kinakailangan natin i-diversify para hindi natin masyadong indahin kung anuman ang mangyari dun sa ibang category. Profit is realized when there will be an increase in the market price of stock of ABC company, but this profit potential is reduced by the fact that only a portion of the money is invested in the said stock. Yun nga, kung kumikita naman si ABC stock, sabi, it is reduced by the fact that only a portion of the money is invested is profiting. Diba? Kasi 25% lang niligay mo eh. So, yun nga lang ang risk doon. At least, sigurado ka naman na hindi yung buong pera mo ang matatalo just in case na may malugi ka sa ibang investment mo. Pang-apat, monitoring of investments. Regular reallocation of resources is necessary for control purposes. Proper allocation of the investments depends on such factors as age, investment period, and investment temperament. Monitor natin para maagapan natin kung ano ang susunod nating gagawin hakbang just in case na kailangan natin gawin yun. Kaya for control purposes. For example, it is necessary to evaluate holding at least once a year for an investment portfolio consisting of 40% in intermediate term bonds, 25% in large capital stocks, 10% in short-term bonds, 10% in medium capital stocks, 10% in small capital stocks, and 5% in international stocks. This is to assess whether there is a need to buy or sell assets to bring the portfolio back to proper asset allocation. Ang sinasabi lang dito ay yung monitoring ng lahat ng investment na venture natin or pinasok natin para kung ano man yung mga kailangan na bigla-biglang remedyohan or gawa ng aksyon, magagawa agad natin ng paraan. Number 5, taking advantage of government guaranteed investment products. Since gobyerno may treasury bond, ito yung magandang opportunity. Take advantage daw natin to. It is safe to invest in an instrument which is guaranteed by the government like the treasury bond. These securities are fully backed by Philippine government aside from an insurance from the Philippine Deposit Insurance Corporation. Bukod pa dun sa treasury bond, meron pang insurance yan. In addition, holding investment until its maturity is better than early withdrawal considering the market risks and penalties except for a secured recovery of principal and interest. So kung tayo ay halimbawa bonds, o kaya treasury bonds, o kaya naman sa time deposit, yan, hintayin natin ang maturity. Huwag natin i-terminate kasi may mga penalties dyan. Tapos, yung interest na inaasam-asam natin, maaaring mas mababa kasi yung market rate maaaring mas mababa na. So, pagka ganyan, hintayin natin ang maturity date para ma-maximize talaga natin yung earnings potential ng ating investment. Now, we have these categories of investment risk. We have two. The first one is systematic risk and the second one is unsystematic risk. Ano ba itong systematic risk? Systematic risk is associated with the market. External ito sa company, market. This risk affects the overall market of the security. It is unpredictable and undiversifiable. However, the risk can be mitigated through hedging or yung lilimitahan natin, kokontrolin natin yung hedging, no? At ito sabi unpredictable and undiversifiable kasi it involves the whole of the market. Hindi mo na siya pwedeng ilipat kasi kahit ilipat mo yan, ganun pa rin ang mangyayari. For example, political upheaval is a systematic risk that can affect multiple financial markets such as bonds, stock, and currency market. An investor can hedge against this sort of risk by buying put options in the market itself. So, halimbawa, gusto mong mag-invest pero dahil hindi natin alam kung ano ang mangyayari after election o sino magiging pangulo, hindi natin alam ano yung magiging policy niya, maaaring yung mga interest rates ay mag-fluctuate tumaas, bumaba. So, hindi talaga natin masabi. It will be unpredictable. So, kahit saang kumpanya ka lumipat, maaaring ganun pa rin. Number 2, unsystematic risk. The second category of risk, unsystematic risk, is associated with a company or sector. It is also known as diversifiable risk and can be mitigated through asset diversification. This risk is only inherent to a specific stock or industry. Hindi ito yung kabuuang market, kundi doon lang sa company or doon sa specific industry lang kung saan kabilang yung company mo. If an investor buys an oil stock, he assumes the risk associated with both the oil industry and the company itself. For example, suppose an investor has invested in an oil company and he believes the falling price of oil affects the company. The investor may look to take the opposite side of or hedge his position by buying a put option on crude oil or on the company, or he may look to mitigate the risk through diversification by buying stock in retail or airline companies. He mitigates some of the risk if he takes these routes to protect his exposure to the oil industry. If he is not concerned with risk management, the company's stock and oil price could drop significantly and he could lose his entire investment, severely impacting his portfolio. So dito, no, kung pwede mong i-diversify yung iyong investment kung unsystematic risk. Kung ito ay oil company, pwede mong ilagay sa ibang aspeto o ibang investment yung paglalagakan mo. Hindi ka lang mag-limit doon sa crude oil. Pwede kang mag-invest sa airline. O kaya naman, pagbili ng stocks. Diba? Hindi lang basta doon sa commodity. Pwede kang sa stocks bumili, mag-invest. Pwede kang mag-diversify, pwede mong ilipat ang investment mo kung yung pinag-uusapan nating oil ay medyo alanganin, lalo sa oil industry, no? Yung iba't ibang industry na ang products ay oil. So, hindi ka lang maglilimit sa basta sa oil, kundi pwede pa sa ibang investment portfolio like the stocks, like the retail, like the airlines, at sa iba't iba pa. So, dito ay mapapangalagaan natin yung ating investment. So, another example, no? Halimbawa, ikaw ay gusto mo mag-invest sa media company. Okay, ang gusto mo ay yung ABS-CBN. Diba? Kaso that time, no? Nakikita mo na pag si Duterte yung nanalo, maaaring mapasara yung ABS-CBN. So, dapat doon pa lang, nililimit mo na, or yung tinatawag natin hedging. Nililimit mo na yung iyong pag-invest. Pwede ka mag-invest sa ABS-CBN, pero small amount, no? Hindi malaki. Kasi hindi mo alam ang mangyayari. Okay? Kung si Duterte yung mananalo, maaaring mapasara yung ABS-CBN. Kung hindi si Duterte, pwedeng magtuloy-tuloy yung ABS-CBN. So, ganyan. At kung ikaw naman ay halimbawa, nasa loob ka na ng ABS-CBN, ikaw ay investor na, at gusto mong mag-profit dun sa stocks, mataas ang market value ng share ng ABS-CBN. No? Tapos dumating ngayon ito, usap-usapan. Nako, pinag-uusapan sa Kongreso. Anong mangyayari? Yung renewal ng franchise ng ABS-CBN at stake. No? Maaari hindi ma-renew. So, ano ang gagawin mo doon sa stocks na hawak-hawak mo? Ibebenta mo na ba agad or hindi? So, yan, no? Yan yung mga bagay na pinaplano agad natin, ina-anticipate agad natin pagdating sa investment. So, sabi nga natin, we have the systematic risk and unsystematic risk. So, for our question of the week, we have this case problem. Jennifer decided to buy 1,000 worth of stock in a company that makes very popular products. She believed that the company would grow and be profitable for the next several years. Several months later, she found out the company lost a major case in court and will no longer be able to sell its most popular product. Jennifer decided to sell all her stocks. When she called her stockbroker, she found out that her shares were worth 400 pesos. Biglang bumagsak ang presyo ng iyong share. From 1,000, naging 400 na lang. How would you describe the financial risk that Jennifer faces? What are the ways you can recommend in reducing the risk that Jennifer is facing? Comment your answers on the comment section. So hanggang dito na lang guys ang ating lesson for this week. See you again next week for our next lesson. Have a nice day.